One of my very favorite Andy Warhol drawings, it's a watercolor, is a whole scene of wildflowers, just in a simple pot, and he's got like butterflies and bees and things flying around the top of it. It's really charming. I'm going to try to recreate that. And this vase I'm going to tape because none of these flowers have a lot of structure to them, their stems. So I better put my glasses on or I'll cut my finger off.
And we've been given a time. We need to wrap this up at about 5.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? I thought of something else I wanted to tell you guys about, but I know.
Basically, I'm just making a grid of tape.
The question was, is it hard getting floral from Japan with, with the tsunami and everything? I haven't seen. I haven't seen it. Have you?
Not yet. Evidently, the area where the flowers are coming from now was not affected. So, but I was told that later in the season, I don't know what that means because I don't know the Japanese flower season, that there might be some problems.
It's been really weird this spring too. I mean, this wedding this weekend is. I'd promised her 6 months ago cherry, and in the past couple of weeks, I'm like, you may get cherry, you may get dogwood. I'm not exactly sure what you're getting because the season has come, and it all blooms so quickly, and so luckily Daniel ordered it early enough that they were able to cut it, and now it's been in cold storage. So the minute we get that stuff, it's going to explode and be. Luckily, it only has to last 1 day, so it'll explode and be stunning for a wedding. But I was starting to sweat it there a little because I wasn't sure exactly if she was just going to have bare branches or what she was going to have.
But it happens every year. You just never know with the seasonal stuff, so it varies year to year. I mean, it was been warm in Holland, so the sweet peas and the ranunculus are starting to get really short in supply now. But it's been cooler here. Like usually by Mother's Day, the local anemones, they're from up the Hudson, are done by now, but they're still going. So you never know.
Yes?
What's the best way to improve the longevity of the arrangement? I'm always suspicious of those.
Those packets are specifically good for harder stems like roses and things of that nature, not particularly for, think spring bulbs, tulips, daffodils. What that packet basically is bleach and sugar. Quite honestly, the best way to prolong flowers is keeping the water clean. Every few days, recutting the stems, give them a fresh cut so they can drink better. If you are using items such as grasses or branches, things that are going to make the water dirtier quicker, it always helps to put a little bit of just Clorox bleach, a little capful into the water.
If I was keeping this arrangement for any period of time, it would definitely need bleach.
Yeah.
So
And
anything
that
that's
helps.
the grassy stuff really makes the water stink, and it just creates a lot of bacteria.
So getting rid of that bacteria helps keep the flowers
This
going as well.
dianthus is also Japanese. It's I happen to love carnations and dianthus and all those things. I don't have a phobia about them. But these are just spectacular little gems. They already look like they're flying.
And that's a rather new variety as well, right?
Yeah. At first, I saw it the first time 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this Lysianthus I put in is a really strange color. They call it brown. It's sort of brown. It's a very antique, yellowy brown.
Any other questions? I'm being told I need to wrap this up shortly. Any? It's a feeding agent, basically, to the flower. Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, we don't. we don't use it, I mean, for the most part, we use it for roses, quite honestly. And they're one of the biggest pain flower. I mean, if you go to the New York Deli and you see those roses that look absolutely perfect, teardrop shaped, you're like, oh, those are stunning. You go and you buy them and you take them home, give them fresh cut, throw them in water, and the next morning they're all drooped over like a little perfect U. If you don't process certain flowers properly when they first come in from Holland, Japan, wherever they're coming in from, that's what's going to happen, and that's what's happening with those roses. Roses truly, when we first get them, they're wrapped very tightly. You have to cut them, and you basically put them in not scalding hot, but very, very, very warm water with the bleach and the sugar, and that forces them, because I mean, you got to remember, those roses were cut in Ecuador or cut wherever, then packaged, then put in a box, then flown to Holland for the market, then set there for a day or two, and then flown to JFK and taken there. So, I mean, those flowers have been out of water for quite a few days already.
And you leave them wrapped during this whole process,
Right.
too. Leave the heads wrapped in, not plastic, cardboard or heavy paper or something.
Yeah.
It support the heads while they're doing that initial drink.
You shove them in the hot water, let them set there for a good couple hours. Then you finally unwrap the original wrapping, if it were cardboard or whatever, and that will have strengthened the neck of the rose. That's what didn't happen to the ones you got at the deli. That's why they all curved over. But when you strengthen them, I mean, a true rose, a really good rose that you purchase, I mean, you should get at least a good week. We've had clients saying, I'm like, were these real? Like, honestly, these roses that you sent us? And I'm like, yeah, they were real. Because they'll have them for a couple weeks. As long as flowers are maintained and treated properly, you should get a nice life out of them. I've heard that before. Well, I've never done it, but no. I think, huh? No, I mean, you
Just,
can't
they
cut
need
it
to
and be
get
like,
into water soon.
quick, yeah.
the-
I mean, if you're like me and you're yakking away, then you probably should be doing that and concentrating. But as long as you cut it and you get it into water quick, you're fine, yeah. Funny disaster stories, yes I do. I have, we had a wedding at the Mark Hotel, and they wanted this fabric huppah. I designed this huppah, which was a little ridiculous after I thought about it, but it really wasn't because it was a lot of fabric, and we'd sewn it, and I should have done it in pieces instead of one giant piece, so it was a little outrageous. But on top of that, the day I was there, I didn't have a measuring device to get the exact ceiling height of the actual ceremony room. So I called the event person. I'm like, listen, this is Brian, blah, blah, blah. I need that height for the hoop. I just want to make sure I'm okay. And they're like, and they gave it to me right off the bat. Like, and I'm like, who truly knows the measurement of the, I suppose you should if you're the event specialist, but I'm like, are you sure? There's no problem there. She's like, I know it, it's fine. I'm like, okay. So I have pipes cut to this exact measurement with these huge heavy metal bases that I don't have to worry about. It's I don't know, maybe 5 hours out or whatever, as we're crossing Central Park to get to the Mark, snowing hellaciously. Blizzard's coming in. So, we get there, and within 15 minutes, guests are arriving. We're running around, scrambling, trying to get this wedding together, because the Mark doesn't have a lot of space either. So, people are just kind of standing in, and we're trying to get through it. My bride has already come down and seen me. I'm like, honey, everything's perfect, blah, blah, blah. Gave her personal flowers, everything's wonderful. I'm in the ceremony room, and all of a sudden I hear, dear, did you get a proper measurement? That's coming from Dan. I turn around, and the uprights to the huppah won't even, they were like this. They'd given me the wrong measurement. They were way too tall. So we're now 2 hours out. I need to have this huppah up really quick because guests are already arriving, and I don't have any, wait, and I'm like, am I gonna stack ballroom chairs? I freaked, to say the least. Our driver was already heading back, made him go get one of those saws that cuts metal. Where that came from, I still don't, I didn't question, I really didn't care. But he made it back, and we're in the middle of the Mark, sawing giant steel poles, whatever. Got it done. The groom comes down, he goes, my bride was saying, I'm like, all right. And he's like, what's wrong with you? Because I was sweating bullets, to say the least. I'm like, no, everything's fine. And he's like, no, he goes, you know, I'd met them. They actually had 2 weddings. They had one for their family, and then they had this really fun party for all their friends. And so he knew me pretty well. And he's like, no, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm telling you, everything's fine. He's like, Brian, I'm like, all right, so the hoop is too big, all right? But I'm taking care of it. Don't worry about it. And he's like, well, don't. I'm like, your bride is not going to find out that the hoop is too big. Don't worry about it, whatever. So, but long story short, we made it. Everything happened, and yeah.
Okay, I'm almost done with this. A couple more elements. This
Another
little birdie is
question?
one of my favorites.
It's always best to cut on an angle because it gives more flat space for it to actually drink. And should, for some odd reason, the stem actually go in and hit the vase or hit the container in a weird way that it would be sitting, it won't drink at all. So if you have it at an angle, the opportunity for it to drink one way or another is much greater.
Come on, there we go. Do you want to add the butterflies?
No, you go ahead. No, you might as well finish it all up.
This is a really weird arrangement for me to do
Yeah,
because
I was going to say.
I like wildflowers a lot, but I don't typically like arrangements with all little flowers. I tend to like some bigger, showier pieces. So this is really atypical of what I would do. But I was just trying to recreate that one Warhol print. This is Ixia, by the way. You don't see it very often. It comes into the market once or twice a year, and that's about it. It comes in white and it comes in pink. Ixia, I-X-I-A. I think it's a bulb.
Is it? It is a bulb, we were told, from one of our gardening ladies.
Does it grow around here? Okay.
See, that's always good to know. Because, like, people ask me, what is that? And if all else, you can always make something up that sounds really fabulous. And they're like, oh, that's amazing. I've never heard of that. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's great. There's one flower, it's Nigella, and it's also called Love in the
Mist.
Love
That's
in the
this one.
Mist.
The white one. Yeah.
And I always, I don't know how it happened, but in my head it ended up as Sex on the Beach. I guess the drink, the cocktail, I don't know. And he'll hear me say that during a bridal meeting. He's like, what was that? I'm like, you know what I mean. It's Love in the Mist, Sex on the Beach, whichever it is. All right, guys, last question. I'm getting the wrap up. Anybody? As Dan adds his
Okay.
insights.
Adding my little bees, which they're on wire already, but to get them into the arrangement, I put them onto a skewer. They're just wired.
It is Columbine, whoever said that. Yes, it is. Yeah.
If the stems were long enough, like the ones that the bees are on are actually probably long enough just to lay in there by themselves. But the great thing about this is you can position and put it wherever you want it. Okay. I think that's it.
And I think that wraps it up, ladies. And gentlemen. I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Geyer again as well.